let's get to identifying more such movers and shakers. This is the show Market Fatafat, and to do that, we have with us Soumya Sharma, Siddharth Bhamre, and on the technicals, Kunal Bothra, as well as Gaurav Ratnaparki of Sharekhan joining on the show. Good morning, and thanks to all of you. Without any further ado, let's flag off the very first stock, and the big mover and shaker for today has got to be DHFL. This is after sources suggest to ET now that DHFL is actually keen on selling its retail lending book, and they have in fact even approached key lenders in the industry for a possible deal with respect to the same. We are in fact seeing that massive search come by. Sources have also suggested that the company seems to have approached ICICI Bank, L&T Housing Finance, Leland Finance, Hero FinCorp. All of these guys may actually be eyeing DHFL's retail book, so watch out. The stock price is already reacting. It's 13% higher today in trade, and that of course is an ET now impact 151. Kunal, NCC, I remember you flagging off this stock earlier as well, and you continue to like this stock.
So yes, Movina, after that big price move yesterday, where it was one of the top gainers, the stock is seeing a mild bit of follow through. The volumes today are again on slightly on the higher side, even though not comparable to what it was yesterday because of the price of move. But nevertheless, I think the stock is staging a very strong breakout on multi-month, multi-time frame charts. So I believe NCC could be looked at even at current levels. I believe a strong positional target of 110 plus could be a high possibility. Stop loss could be kept around that 94 mark.
Okay, so Kunal is very optimistic on an NCC. Gaurav, Yes Bank, the stock has shown quite a bounce to levels of 230 rupees from the recent close of 180 and 170. You have a sell here, however. What's the reason?
Yeah, indeed. Yes Bank has recently seen a decent pullback over the last 2-3 weeks. However, the pullback has now taken form of an ending diagonal pattern. As the name indicates, the pattern would mark end of the pullback, at least from short-term perspective. Whereas the larger picture shows that the stock has formed a multi-month bearish triangular pattern, and the ending diagonal pattern has been formed at the upper end of the triangle, which further increases its bearish significance. So I'm expecting a sharp fall in this counter. So one can sell Yes Bank at current level with stop loss at 242 and target on the downside will be 200.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on a Yes Bank. Soumya, what's the news on Endurance Tech?
Well, Movina, this is one of the stocks which is majorly in focus because its founder, Anurag Jain, is selling up to 4.52% of his stake with an additional option of approximately 3% via offer for sale. Well, this offer for sale starts from today and would end tomorrow, that is March 7. And the company has set the floor price at 1100 per share. The stock reacting to this news flow.
All right, Siddharth, let's go across to you then. ICICI Prudential, what are you observing in this stock?
Most of the beaten down names are doing well, and ICICI Pru Life started its bounce back since last few weeks, and we are just seeing that it's gaining more momentum as a day pass by. And if you clearly look at what's happening in this space, that cash volumes are already at 1 month high. We are like 2.5 hours in trade. And if cash volumes are so high, it's not just some sort of short covering, because it's easy to say whenever stock goes up it's short covering. It's not short covering, it's buying in cash. It's formation of long positions in futures. So there is some inherent strength which you can clearly see in ICICI Pru Life.
Okay, more than 4% of gains coming in for ICICI Prudential. Kunal, here's another stock that you flagged off yesterday and you continue to like it today, BEL.
So yes, Movina, most of these stocks, BEL and similar space related stocks, I think they are doing extremely well. Look at the last 6 months or 7 months of chart pattern. The stocks were trying to make or test their previous swing lows or multi-month lows, and all of a sudden you see a change of trend, and these stocks are now gearing up for breakouts on the upper side. Now in the process of the last 3 months where the stock, or 6 months where the stock tested its support, it's formed a bullish RSI divergence setup, and I think that's a very important setup because it's getting observed on a lot of stocks. BL is a similar case in point. I would believe that this momentum should continue. 100 could be a target. Stop loss could be kept at 88.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on a BEL, inching towards 92 rupees now, and Kunal continues to like this one. Okay, here is some not so good news once again coming in, and this time around it's in the form of the North American Class 8 truck sales, which have yet again dipped. It's come in at 16,700 units for the month of February, and this versus 40,000 units, more than 40,000 units in fact, of February 2018, and that is of course not such good news. On a month-on-month basis, of course, there's been a bit of a bounce come in, but really it's all in all disappointing. It's a 7% drop, uptick on a month-on-month basis, but a massive drop on a year-on-year basis. And you are seeing the concomitant impact coming in on Bharat Forge as well, which is something that is being impacted on account of this. All right, Gaurav, Dredging Corp, what should one do with the stock? It's a stock that has seen a lot of volatility of late, and today as well it seems to be continuing.
The Dredging Corp basically seems to have formed a medium-term base for itself in the range of 290 to 300, and thereon the stock has entered multi-month pullback. On the weekly chart, the stock is forming higher top, higher bottom. So accordingly, the stock is expected to surpass the swing high of 479. As far as fresh entry is concerned, one can look to enter on the long side in the range of 420, 425. The short-term target on the upside will be 479, whereas medium-term target is placed at around 530.
Okay, so that's the recommendation on Dredging Corp. All right, here's another big mover and shaker, and this time it's an ET now impact, a big exclusive. Indiabulls Housing Finance looking to pick up a stake in private bank Lakshmi Vilas Bank, which is of course Chennai based. Ajay Sharma has picked the story up from his sources. Ajay, why Lakshmi Vilas Bank, and when can we expect any sort of deal over here?
Well, that's correct. Our sources are telling us that Lakshmi Vilas Bank, which is shortly going to meet, the board is shortly going to meet regarding fundraising, is exploring several options, including being in talks with large NBFC such as Indiabulls Housing. In fact, we understand that Indiabulls Housing is leading the race for picking up a slice in Lakshmi Vilas Bank. Now remember, right now we are gathering that this will start with picking up a minority stake, but eventually Indiabulls is keen to merge with this entity Lakshmi Vilas Bank. What we are understanding that certain PE players are also keen to pick up stake in Lakshmi Vilas Bank. We already seen how the NBFC space and housing finance space in particular has started to witness a lot of headwinds, regulatory headwinds as well as liquidity related stuff, and even the way market is looking at this space, valuations have got compressed, and also becoming a bank gets you access to lower cost of funds. This could perhaps be the rationale, but we understand that very advanced level talks are happening between the two entities. Surely this will not be a plain Jane transaction. They would be requiring regulatory nods from regulator, anything above 5%, especially a share swap transaction, which we are understanding is going to happen, will require RBI nod. 10% beyond, definitely much more scrutiny comes. What is the pedigree of the NBFC? What are the promoters holding, etc. We've already seen that happen in the banking space. But we understand that all of that is being worked upon. Both the boards are in principle comfortable with exploring this and going forward with this. Once in principle nod from both the boards come in, they will be taken to the RBI. After getting all the RBI approvals, this transaction is moved forward. It will be a prolonged transaction, just the way Capital First and IDFC also recently happened, but it was also a long-drawn transaction, especially from the RBI side. The entire checklist needs to be done, especially on shareholding side and all of that. But we understand that this is happening. IB Housing completely denies this, calling it a speculation. Though LV Bank says that we already informed the exchanges of ongoing capital raising exercise. But what kind of transaction could it lead to? They are denying to talk about it right now. But our sources are saying that KPMG and JP Morgan are working as advisors to this transaction. So this is something which could happen very shortly.
Okay, well, yes, look at the way Lakshmi Vilas Bank has surged. It's 8.7% higher. Remember, big ET now exclusive. Indiabulls Housing Finance eyeing a stake in that stock. In fact, as we speak, it's as perched at the day's high at 78 rupees. Thanks, Ajay, for that. Well, we'll do one thing. We'll take a quick breather right here on Market Fatafat. Come right back. Movers and shakers and identifying those stocks will continue. Welcome back. You're you're watching Market Fatafat on ET now. Here's an important news update. This is with respect to the very, very contentious angel tax issue, on the back of which a whole host of startups had actually received notices, and not to mention, of course, in some worst case scenarios, had their bank accounts as well frozen. My colleague Parisha Tyagi is joining in. Parisha, I understand that you picked up from your sources that the CBDT has actually issued a notification to startups that have received such tax notices.
Yes, the CBDT, remember this issue has been lingering for quite some time now, and after DPIIT issued a notification saying that startups, it will be now easier for startups to register with the DPIIT. A notification from CBDT was still awaited, as so far nothing has been said on the tax notices already received by the startups. So this is a breather for those startups which have already received tax notices, and this notification, although it is not a exemption, it says that those startups which receive notices for having issued or being in the process of issuing shares with a value exceeding the face value of the startup. So let me simplify it for you. The startups which have received tax notices for investments which exceed their fair market values will not be liable to pay any taxes. So this is what the notification says, but of course the ball still lies in the court of assessing officer, as it will have to keep into mind this notification, and then the assessing officer gets to make the final call when startups go there with an appeal. So yes, this notification has come in as a breather, but the ball still lies in the court of assessing officer.
All right, okay, fair enough. Thanks a lot, Parisha, for that partial breather. I think we could call it that for now for startups when it comes to the angel tax issue. Well, very quickly, let's continue with the countdown of the movers and shakers. Gaurav, Dilip Buildcon, it's a stock where we've seen a lot of volatility today that seems to be continuing. What's the verdict?
In case of DBL, the monthly chart shows an impulse on the downside from the all-time high of 1247. And since the last month, however, the stock has started retracement of the entire fall. So far, it has retraced little more than 23.6% and can head towards 38.2% retracement mark, which is around 670. When the momentum indicators on various time frames are in line with the bullish expectation, the stock still has 100 odd points upside even from current level.
Okay, so that's Dilip Buildcon, 9.5% higher, but unfortunately we're out of time on this edition of the show. So Gaurav, thanks so much for joining in and giving us your technical perspective. Kunal, Soumya and Siddharth, to you as well. We'll wrap it up on Market Fatafat. Coming up next to take the market action forward is Market Signal.